Good morning and welcome back to my garden. We have a project in this bed today, but first I wanted to show you guys. When these melons are ready, they fall off the vine on their own, and that one has fallen off the vine on its own, which means, oh, this one has too. A little puny weird shaped one, which means they're ready to go inside and be food. So that's exciting. And yes, I'm pointing with my blue blow pop because blue's the best flavor, that's why. So yeah, our project is on this bed. So I'm going to get those melons in the house, and then we're going to come out here and take all the mesh off. You can see here it's all held together at the top by clips, and that's driving me crazy. So I was laying in bed thinking about it last night, because of course when you're laying in bed you're going to be thinking, not going to sleep, right? Because that's my brain. Where was I? Yes, I was thinking about this. And I'm going to take it inside and sew those top two pieces together so that we don't end up with this whole problem here happening and things getting in when I don't want them to get in. And while we have that off, I'm going to plant a few things and stake up the big plants and probably harvest the banana peppers. So yeah, let me get those melons inside and then we'll get that started. I just spent 5 minutes in the house looking for my stand-up tripod, which is right here, by the way. And yeah, so that was fun. Let me get you set up in the shade so the phone doesn't overheat while I'm working. You get to be in the shade of the beautiful melons. All right, I'm not going to try to talk to you while I'm over there because you're not going to be able to hear me. So let's just set you in speed up mode and get the job done. All right, let's take a look inside that bed now without the cover. We got our Brussels sprouts with some flies on it, but at least there's no other bugs. These ones don't seem to have any worm damage. A couple of the ones in the other bed do, but I'm not super concerned. What we're going to do with these Brussels sprouts, and probably this one in the middle that I can now actually look at the cup for. It's faded. I don't know what it is. We're going to put some stakes. We're going to put some stakes in to hold those up. That's one of the kohlrabi that is kaput. Dead kohlrabi there. That one might come back, but I'll probably just pull it out. That one's looking all right. That one's looking all right. So I will probably pull out the ones that don't look like they're going to come back. And then I will amend this soil a little bit and put in that drip line down the middle that I had talked about, because there's drip on that end. You can see here, that brown strip. There's not one in the middle here, but there's two on this side. And there's actually 3 on that side, so getting one down the middle will be good. I had to be careful getting the peas off of that mesh. Some of them were kind of tangled in. So I'll come through here and trellis up the peas onto their trellis that they are supposed to be on. Then we'll come in here and we'll pick the banana peppers. And hopefully my camera doesn't overheat while I get all that on video. But first we're going to go inside and sew those pieces of mesh together. Alright, the sewing is done. Sorry if you're at a bit of a weird angle, but I'm trying to keep the camera in the shade. I'm gonna come through here and pull the peas. Some of them are actually attaching to the, not pull the peas, I'm pulling them back so they're not behind the thing. Some of them are actually up on the trellis and some of them are not. The ones that are not, I'm just gonna pull backwards and then I'll put some small sticks in here to get them up off the ground. But oh, and put my face in a spider web apparently. All right, the peas are fixed. Most of them were already up. It's fine. They're reaching for the trellis and doing all right. Now I'm going to stake up these Brussels sprouts. I have these sticks that are 4 foot tall. I think I got them at Walmart, but it might have been Home Depot, so I don't know for sure. But I'm going to stick them in just to give these brassicas some support. All right, I got the peas pulled back. I got the brassicas staked up with those 4 foot stakes. Now I'm going to pick some banana peppers. All right, sorry for the weird-ish view, but again, I'm trying to keep you in the shade. So I'm going to pick some banana peppers now. And I might grab some shishitos too, if there's any that are ready. Go with me to the other side. Some snips so I don't break my plant. There are a lot of blossoms on this plant. Leave that one as little. That funny little shaped one. Oh, some of my shishitos are turning red when they're really, really little. So I'm just going to throw those in the bed. Let them compost there. So they're not really worth trying to eat that tiny quarter of a bite of something. There's a few. They're not very big, but there's a few. If I take these ones, then it'll put on more. So that'll be good. Nice little snack. Not very many of them, but better than nothing. I went and grabbed a few more shishitos off of the plant in the other bed. This is about how big they're supposed to be. This is about how big I'm getting, so I didn't want to just get these and only have a few to snack on. Now I have good enough for an actual snack. So next I need to pull out these kohlrabi that are not going to survive. You know what? I'm just gonna pull out all four, I mean. Spill out the soil. I'm gonna direct seed some stuff, so I'm gonna try to pull out some of the bigger sticks on top. There's one cilantro growing there, so from all the seeds that I sprinkled. This bed does not get good enough water. Alright, the next step is going to be to put this drip line down the center of the bed. So we are going to come over here. Alright, so we're going to put this 12-foot long drip tube. I like this. It's a 1/4 inch and it has emitters right here every 6 inches. So it helps with spacing, like if you're planting something 6 inches apart, then each one will get water. Or it also just makes sure the whole bed gets water every 6 inches. So I have it hooked onto this thing that you can turn if you need to turn off that section of the water, which I don't foresee happening. But if you look right here, this is the line that's coming up off the main water line. So I'm going to come in here and I'm just going to poke a hole with my little poker tool and try not to break my plants that I'm leaning over. So that pokes the hole. That's that thing. And then I'm going to put in, I had originally set this up to be 2 pieces, but I only actually need 1, so I cut one off and put a stopper on the end. And this will actually be a drip if I turn it to turn it on, but I have it turned off right now, so it won't drip. But I'm going to shove that little end into that hole. And now this whole row, this whole thing, is attached to the water line. So I'm just going to take it down to the end of the bed. Alright, I brought you back in the shade. I'm going to go attach it down the bed with these, stick these into the dirt to hold it in. They're little J hooks. And they'll just hold it so it's straight, because right now it came rolled up, so it's going to stay rolled up unless I can pin it straight. This is a lot easier to do if you do it before there's plants in the ground. Alright, I'll show you the path I took with it. So I hooked it up there. I came behind this middle plant, the broccoli, I think. Broccoli or Romanesco, whatever it is that we don't know. I accidentally broke off one of the broccoli leaves. That's okay. So I ran it along the ground here, towards that pepper plant, and then down that way. I tried keeping it close to the peas, because if you can see down that way, there's a tan one already on the ground, or a brown piece already on the ground, so it's not, I don't know, I wanted them a little closer to this side than that side, but it fell where it would. There's plants in the ground already that are hard to work around, so we went through that way. And then over here, instead of trying to fight with the green bean patch, I just looped it around and sent it back that way under the peas. And that'll be good for now. I was mostly concerned about getting those guys right there in the middle any water. Those are the rutabaga. And they're looking pretty wilty right now because it's just afternoon and it's about 85 out here. While I was in here not moving the beans though, I saw a bunch of beans that are almost ready to harvest, so that's exciting. I'll have to have a harvest video soon. Notice these ones, there's even more green beans that are getting close. Some are ready. I'm also noticing this crispy silverness of the leaf. If you can see on there, you might not be able to. They're really, really small, little tiny black dots. That's called thrips. They took out all of my green beans in spring and summer. So these will be my first actual green beans that I'm getting green beans off of. So yeah, I might have to come out here and spray some of those with some organic pest repellent, because thrips are not something I want to mess with. All right, so I'm gonna let my camera cool down for a little while I go inside and figure out which seeds I want to plant. But first I'm going to spray down this area just to have it be nice and moist. I might top it with a little bit of sifted compost. And then I will see you back when I decide what seeds I'm going to plant. All right, I didn't make it back into the house because I was walking past the seed shelves that are on the porch, and I found these 3 Romanescos. Remember, they needed a place to live, so I'm going to put one here and here at the back. They might be a little bit crowded in that, but I'm all right with that. Then I'll put one right in the middle. And then I'll probably go inside and just grab a couple of kohlrabi seeds, because my kohlrabis that were up there died. Or I might get some flowers, some sweet alyssum or something like that, because I've always wanted to try planting that. I haven't done it yet. So yeah, I'm going to get these planted. I'm going to dig a hole, and I'm going to put some of this blood meal in there because they like their nitrogen. And I'll get these 3 guys in the ground real quick. I also just went past my watermelon plant and realized that the tendril that we've been waiting on changing on that last watermelon hanging there has pretty much dried out. So I think we're going to harvest that watermelon today too and take it inside with those 2 little kajaris that we got. But first we're doing this. Move 2 out of the way and get 1 going. These guys are definitely very ready to go in the ground. They're looking good and healthy still, but they want more room. The root systems are looking good. They're not too root bound or anything. Started wrapping around the cup a little bit, but not too bad. But we'll get them in the ground. They'll be happy. Especially this one that might get some shade back here. Might be extra happy. About half a handful of blood meal in there. And I'm going to bury it a little bit above soil level, just to give it some sturdiness. I'm going to have to go over and get some stakes for these too, because these ones get big. Alright, there's one. I'll do the middle one so I can lean over it. This one will be right next to that new drip line, so that's perfect. Good thing we got that drip line in, because we knew we were going to need to put these Romanescos in. It's just foresight or something. See, it's about a half a handful. Just right in there. Sometimes I mix it in, sometimes I don't care. This one, I like these clear cups because you can actually see the roots the whole time. So you can see they're healthy, but you can see they're also right here and up is dry. It was getting thirsty, so it's a good thing it's going in the ground where it can get some water too. Good root system. I'll take off that leaf because it's not looking happy, but I'll bury it up to about here. These aren't like tomatoes. They won't grow roots or anything. It'll just give it a little more stability in the ground. They won't grow roots out the stem. They will 100% still root in the ground, of course. I'm pretty sure the recommendation on these was like 18 to 24 inch space, and these ones are not getting that. But that's all right. We'll just see how it goes, and if they don't grow big, then I'll know for next year that I need to actually follow that. I sprinkled down some all-purpose fertilizer over on that side. Now I can see a bunch of flies over there that are going to be really gross if I put that mesh back up today. When I put that mesh back up today. Definitely not an if, because I don't want any birds eating these guys. This one still says Romanesco cauliflower, but the stem is a different color. and the leaves look a little bit different, so I might be wrong. Maybe I mislabeled it. I don't know. Some good roots in there. Get that guy in the ground. For now, I just want the stakes in the ground. I'm not like tying them to it or anything. I just want the stakes there for when they do get bigger and might start flopping over a little bit. I can stake them up. But they don't need support right now. They're still little. I will water them in after I get seeds in the ground though too. I'm not going to water them and then water them again. But here we go. Beautiful Romanesco cauliflowers that can grow in the ground now instead of being stuck in cups. This is my seed bin. It's a photo organizer. I got it at Michael's craft store. So we are looking for brassicas, potentially some root veggies. I might throw in some carrots. I don't know how devoted I am to keeping that soil moist, but and we'll also look at the cooler flowers. Okay, what I'm thinking is either kohlrabi, probably green if I went with kohlrabi, or white, I guess, because those are the ones that died. Or I have some carrot seed tape, but that sounds a little too labor intensive right now, and I don't really want to lay out seed tape. Another option is alyssum, which I can pop a picture of what alyssum looks like up here in the corner. It's a pretty little white flower. Alyssum is technically a brassica, so it has the same seed leaves as like a broccoli or a cauliflower or a cabbage. Or I could also go with the radish, knowing that I am terrible at growing radishes. So I think in that spot, I want to stick with kohlrabi since that's what's already there, but not the purple one. We'll put that away. Not the alyssum this time. I also have bachelor buttons that I was planning on putting somewhere, but I think bachelor buttons. I was planning on putting these in where we actually ended up putting the potatoes in the cage thingy. Not Cosmos. Maybe Cosmos. I wanted bachelor buttons and poppies, but we put potatoes in there instead, and I like potatoes better, so I'll save those, and maybe we can put them in the round bed or something soon. I'm going to go with kohlrabi, and I'm going to sprinkle randomly a few of these radishes in there too. So yeah, let's go do that. Alright, I didn't want to take my whole seed thing outside, so I just took about 10-ish each from those 5 varieties of radish, and I stuck them in this jar. And then we will take these out there and plant. I think they're supposed to have 1 square foot each in square foot gardening, so we'll probably plant 3 or 4 or 5 if I'm feeling rebellious. I just walked past my thermometer on the porch, and it is 82 degrees in the shade. So I got, I think I got 9 seeds, but one of them looked weird, so I'm going to plant 2 in each hole and 3 in one. So there'll be 4 spots with the kohlrabi. And I'm going to do them across the front here, next to this drip tape. See, what I'll do is, can you see that right there? Yeah, you can. Whether or not it's focused on it or not. This is where the hole is in the drip emitter, and then 6 inches away there's a second hole. So I will put one here just before that one, and I'll put one at that, so it'll be about 7 or 8 inches apart. I'm not going to go very deep because they're little. So that's about got 3. And then I'll put another one here. With any big chunks that might be in the way of little seedlings popping up. I'll put 2 seeds there. And the reason I'm doing 2 is so that if one doesn't germinate, the other one still might, and I will actually get kohlrabi. With the next one, I'm going to come over here and plant it by this drip irrigation spot between the 2 pepper plants. So we'll drop 2 seeds in there, and that'll get drip. I ran the drip yesterday, so I'll water them with the hose today, but then tomorrow I'll get drip. I usually run it for about an hour every 3 days or so. This last set of 2. I'm actually going to move this drip over a little bit for this, and I'm going to stick it right there next to that emitter. Alright, and then I have my jar of radish seeds that are all mixed up. I'm going to just sprinkle them over this middle part here, and some of them under where I just planted the established plants. Maybe a couple. But I'm going to go get some of the sifted compost and just sprinkle it over the top of that. We have finished our harvest and our planting and our seeding and adding a little bit of fertilizer and then also sewing up that mesh fabric. So now I'm going to water in those seeds and the new plants. And then we will put that mesh back up on it, get it all clamped down so the babies can be safe in there. Water in that fertilizer I threw underneath the pepper plants too while we're out here. Make sure everybody's good. I tend to overlove my plants with too much water, so I gotta watch out. Okay, back into the shade under the melon trellis for you while I go put that mesh back on. Let's grab this watermelon. My next project is to do the same thing on this bed. I want to sow these and then get it planted, obviously. Remove this plant. There's a moth that just flew out of here. Ew, a cucumber beetle. Cut it in half with my snips. Alright, there it is. There's the watermelon. I'm going to wash it off out here because there's cucumber. Oh, there's one right there. Can you see that? Bring it closer. There's a cucumber beetle. I don't know if that's in focus or not, but yeah, those guys like melons and cucumbers, and it just flew over to my other melon plant, so that's lovely. But there's our watermelon. Part of me is really tempted to just pull this watermelon plant now, but that is a project for another day when I have more time. So we'll put that on the list for the next project. But for now, we'll be happy with the melon. Anyway, here's what we've got done today. I still had to clip this side shut because I have this string holding that hoop up so it doesn't fall over. So I have a clip there and there, and then I clipped it to the bed at the bottom. And I actually found some zip ties and had an idea to put one of those green posts between each of the ladder mesh hoops that are inside, which you can get at Home Depot in the masonry section. So I did that. I tied those three together, and then I tied this one that's also tied to that one over to those other two. And that's just to keep them like from falling over, because I've noticed the ones on the edge like to cave in, so it's to hold them up. And you can see I stitched it all the way across. I used dark blue because, like, I don't care what color it is. I just want it together without a bunch of clips. And then I stitched down this side because I didn't want a bunch of fabric bunched up over here next to the other plants. I don't mind so much at the end over there, because at the end over there, it is just the end of a bed. It's not like plants are, well, the potatoes are, but it's not like plants are trying to grow right here in soil. It's just the edge of the bed. But yeah, that's our project for the day. Thanks for coming with me, and I hope you come back for the next one.